Pittsburgh Steeler fans, welcome back to another episode of the Scho Bro Show. This is Behind the Steel Curtain. Co-editor Dave Schofield coming at you again on a Tuesday night. With me always is my other Scho Bro, my big brother Rich. Rich, how are you this Tuesday night?
You know, it's been close to a month, but we're going to breathe in the sweet smell of victory.
Yes.
So missed. And that one was so sweet.
I feel bad for the YouTube audience. They might have missed that one. I know the Facebook audience should have had it in there. It was a little bit late jumping onto YouTube. So breathe it in again. Yeah.
It had been so long. You know, it's worth a double breathe to get that sweet smell of victory.
When it's a 17-point come from behind victory, you're allowed to do that. I mean, there was with 20 minutes left of the game. Gotta love it. Okay, we'll get into that real soon. We're glad to be back here again. But Rich, you also have something else for us tonight, don't you?
We got all kinds of surprises set up for tonight.
Yeah, we got a bunch of them.
Yeah. So the first one, since we are still in the midst of the holiday season, Kyle would like to join you for a minute because he's got something he's got to show and he's got something he's got to say.
All right. So this is a first. People have heard Kyle. They've seen him in the live chat. I don't think he's ever been on video before.
I don't know totally. Yeah.
So this is a special holiday edition.
Let him duck in here for a second and talk to you.
Okay. So that's one treat you're going to get is you're going to get to hear a little bit from Kyle. Hey. Kyle, you got me.
Hey,
what are you?
Yeah, I had to come show off the Color Rush Claypool jersey.
Yes. So you got some Steelers gear for Christmas. So
yes. So there was some other gear I should have gotten for Christmas. Yeah. So
what did I do wrong?
Yeah, my payment for helping with knee jerk for the Tennessee game.
Oh, that's right. You were saying that you wanted your BTSC shirt, and I haven't ordered a beat. You know what? You know the biggest problem is with me ordering the gear through Behind the Steel Curtain is they don't make it big enough for me, but it's perfect size for you. Yeah, so I gotta get on that. I completely forgot about that. But we got Kyle there showing the Claypool jersey.
So pay Kyle in all the super chats until I get paid.
Kyle. Yeah. So all I have to say is your Color Rush has one thing that mine doesn't. And that is the Steelers logo, because mine, in order to get it big enough, is actually a knockoff. So it doesn't actually have the logo. So,
and I didn't realize this until I saw a post on Reddit. The sleeves are a slightly brighter color.
The sleeves are a slightly brighter color. So, all right. So there you go. So there's Kyle showing us his Steeler gear. Did you, any other Steeler gear or anything you got?
Oh, yeah. Got a 9-foot by 5-foot blanket.
Nice. Homemade or
homemade?
Yes, that's the best kind. I got one of those enormous blankets too. Homemade, those are the best. Everyone's hashtag pay Kyle. Oh my goodness, it looks like that's what I'm going to have to do. So, anything else you want to say to our audience here before your dad jumps back in?
Jesse James caught that ball.
Kyle leaves us with the Jesse James caught that ball, of course. Rich.
You ever ask Kyle if he's got anything left to say? It doesn't even matter if we were talking Steelers or not. That's what he always says.
That's what he always says. So, all right. So,
Kyle, is there anything else? Yeah, Jesse James caught that ball.
So there we go. We got the good Steelers stuff. But you know what? I completely forgot about him saying that he wanted a BTSC.
I did too. Until Mom and Dad came over the other night. I'd forgotten all about it.
Yeah. I got him he has a Dilly Dilly shirt that I got for him, but I guess
that was a long time ago.
It probably doesn't even fit him anymore. He probably outgrew that one. Yeah. So now there's something else we're gonna do.
He had a great Christmas when it came to Steeler stuff, and then he forgot the last thing that he got Steeler wise. So Kyle plays on the golf team at the high school.
Mm-hmm.
So what he got was a clip that goes on his hat that magnetically holds a ball marker, and it comes with 2 ball markers, and they're both Steeler. One's the logo and one Steeler.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You want to know why?
He's going to be repping the Steelers when he's out on the course playing golf. So
I know that exactly because I have the exact same thing. Yeah, I have one as well. So let's move on to our other surprise that we had that we were working on. I was given a little bit of a tutorial earlier tonight when I was setting up our show, not to you, because we have part of our BTSC podcast family that's going to be making a transition. They're going to be transitioning from our audio format into our YouTube format. We will be having, starting this weekend on YouTube Live, you will now be getting Steelers Touch Down Under. Because we have Matty P and Marky D both here on the show tonight because they had to get their wonderful tutorial about how to set up these shows for you all. So we might as well have them drop in. Guys, tell us about what's going to be happening with the show. Who's going to go first?
Yeah, I'll take it. You go, Matty. There we go. It's chucked in the deep end. But no, look, it's really exciting. Obviously, we've generally recorded our audio shows that have come to people live on Saturday mornings. I think it's about 5 a.m. So we're moving time slots come this week. So we'll be live to you guys in about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll be recording on coming to you live from the future at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So who knows what news we'll bring from the future. But yeah, it'll be great to enjoy joining you live chats. You know, it's something that Mark, I think, is pretty excited for as well. But good to be joining you guys live starting this week.
All right, Mark, tell us, are you excited? Are you ready to do this? Are you ready for all these wonderful Steeler fans around the globe to be seeing what these two handsome blokes look like?
You know what? I'm a bit excited / kind of nervous too at the same time. YouTube's a different kind of game ball. It's going to be like, you know, it's our first start really in the NFL. We'd be doing a really good work with the audio platform, but now it's like it all means business now. We just got to turn up, show up, and play hard.
Yeah, play hard. Hey, I have to bring this one up. I got to show you guys. This is how the super chat or the chat feature works. Cream, let's go, Maddie. Where's the stash at?
It was a no shave November. It was a no shave November.
It was glorious. It was a glorious mustache. It really was. So
I'm growing my beard, Dave. I'm growing my beard for the playoff time. I'm doing it from now.
So you've got the playoff beard going on. I always try to cover up my ugly face as much as I can with whatever I can get going. But you guys will be going at approximately 5 p.m. Eastern time on Saturdays, because our other lineup change is because of a difference with his other employment. We will no longer be having Steelers Brunch with Tony on Saturdays. That's going to be, I don't know if we're going to call it I like Jeff's idea of Steelers Happy Hour with Tony. Tony's going to be filling in the empty Friday slot on YouTube, and we've got our Aussies to slide right in. I might have said it wrong. Your Aussies. I don't know if I pronunciated well.
That was good. That's good. That's top notch.
That the Aussies are sliding in to that spot on Saturday. So make sure, those of you that watch on YouTube, make sure you got your alerts ready to go so you can catch that this Saturday. Those of you that check it out on Facebook, you should be getting the alert when they go right around that time. We're excited. You guys are excited. And it should just be a lot of it's more Steelers talk. And that's what we all ultimately want. Rich, I've kind of ignored you. What do you think about this?
Actually, it was cool to hear that Tony was sliding into that Friday time slot then. Now we pretty much will have stuff going all the time.
Yeah. So we'll have live YouTube / Facebook shows every day of the week. And the international audience is now getting a chance to even chime in even more. And guys, so you guys, that's going to be, you said 9 a.m. Sunday, your time,
yeah,
right?
About 9 a.m. Sunday. But we, like Mark and I always have brought, I think it's cool that we've got Tony now going at like 5 p.m. on a Friday. We're 5 p.m. Saturday. We've always brought that sort of sports bar pub feel to the show. So we're pretty keen to keep that up for all the listeners when they're having their sort of happy hour pub time on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, Rich, I've got to bring this up because they're speaking your language now.
Kangaroo down.
Rich loves that song. It's
used to play it on vinyl.
Yep. So what is that? Is that Kingston Trio? Is that who that is, Rich? No. Who's that? Which version do you have? I put you on the spot. Kyle
I actually had it, totally lost it.
Yeah.
Give me just a second. I think I know who
I'm
it is.
trying to remember. Okay. Occam's Ox wants to know, will you be talking about dingoes? Because you know, maybe the dingo ate children. If you guys, I don't know if you guys know that reference or not. That's a Seinfeld reference. I know Jeff Hartman would love that one. With a very famous episode of Seinfeld. So, guys, we're just looking forward to hearing more from you. Getting that perspective. We gotta love slinging the slang. Gotta love slinging.
That'll be there, and we'll be excited to get it all the listeners and see what sort of sling the slang you want to hear, and getting you guys to try it out and all the rest of it. So we're keen to sort of come to you with a bit more of a revamp on that too.
Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. You guys are going to be continuing to learn some behind the scenes stuff here as the show goes on. We might pop you in every once in a while if I want to get your opinion on something. But there's a lot of people like, come on, we like having the two good-looking guys in there rather than have to look at Rich the whole time. But they also want to get to be watching about talking about some Steelers stuff. So we're going to go ahead and roll on, and then hopefully you guys have to do. Okay. Mark's already distracted by the live chat.
Oh, sorry. It's just funny.
Oh, awesome. And you guys will learn as you're doing the YouTube show, the live chat is the best thing about it. It really is.
We can speak English. It's just broken.
And my favorite Steeler is Mean Joe Green. Favorite Steeler, Mean Joe Green.
There you go. So you guys kind of check out the live chat and everything while we move on with the show here. So we'll be seeing you guys here a little bit later if you're still around. But Rich, we got to move on with. I was so excited about that. I got to bring it back in. Still breathing in. There you go. Thank you.
I've always told you I was the better looking brother.
Yes. Well, I just figured you and I look a little bit alike, so I can't say that you're that good looking. So, man, how wonderful was it to get back into that sweet smell of victory? I'm going to ask you a question because I kind of answered this before. At what point did you start to believe that the Steelers were going to win that game against the Colts?
After the defense, I knew we had a chance once the defense held after the Deontay Johnson touchdown.
Really? You got it a little bit earlier than me then.
That's when I started. Well, I don't want to say that at that point in time I knew we would win, but at that point in time I actually turned to Kyle and says, uh-oh, we might have a game here.
Yeah.
So that's when I really felt that it turned. Okay, the defense held on the goal line. We scored in one play. The defense held again. That's when I was like, uh-oh, we could be seeing something here.
So how deflating was the goal line where the Steelers did not find the touchdown zone? What at that point did you think they had a chance and they blew it? Did you think that was just one more? Oh, don't tell me.
I would have done things a little differently. Okay.
Mm-hmm. You'd have kicked it.
No, I would not have.
Okay.
No, I'd have play called it a little differently.
Well, I think a lot of us might have, but okay.
I would have lined up in jumbo in first and second down, and I would not have had Benny Snell in the backfield. I'd have had James Conner in the backfield.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'd have run it on first and second down, and then spread wide with more receivers and done that on third and fourth.
Yeah, there's something that Jeffrey Benedict says a lot, and that is Conner runs better behind the fullback than Snell. Snell is more the power runner, but he doesn't run well off the fullback because I just don't think he's done it enough. I don't know that they ran with a fullback in Kentucky. I don't know. I could be saying something.
I don't know, but I feel that Conner gets a good read, especially on a real short yardage thing like that. Like he'll read Watt's block and pick the correct side to go on.
Yeah. Yep.
But that one hurt.
I almost feel like Benny's looking at the lineman so much that he misses the fullback. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Where Conner focuses strictly on the fullback and trusts him to guide him in the right spot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Conner gets behind Watt and it's like, okay, snowplow, plow the road.
Mm-hmm.
Where maybe is looking forward towards the line a little bit, ignoring the fullback and looking more, okay, what's the line getting blocked?
Yeah. Yep. I think you're spot on. So the Steelers go down there. I love the fact that on third they went to Claypool. That should have been the touchdown. That one hurt. And
Yeah,
then
it did.
that throw to James Washington, that was just a fantastic defensive play. He couldn't grandpa strong that ball because that guy, I can't even remember who the defender was there. Other people might be able to tell me.
I don't remember, but I will tell you this: that guy's
He knocked the ball down before it got to him. So
that guy's last two steps were really, I mean, they were quick. They were good. Like he closed that last little bit quickly. I didn't think he was going to get there when Ben let go of that ball. I thought it would get in, and really just was pretty amazing that the defender was able to get up there and get his hands on it.
Yeah.
The only thing I looked at as positive was, okay, defense, hold them. I really would have liked them to held them clear back at the 2 and made a punt from the very back of the end zone, but it worked out okay, so I guess I'm good.
Yeah, well, and you got to remember, the very first play, the Colts did what they had been doing so well. They went to run the ball, and they got thrown for 1 yard loss.
Yep.
That, to me, honestly, that was the play that changed everything. Seriously, that play was – you could look back at all these crazy other plays. If it wasn't for that play, I don't know that the game plays out the way that it does anywhere close. If instead of losing a yard, they end up gaining 4 or 5, then they're just going to keep running the ball, get a first down, keep going. They lose 1 yard. They go to throwing the ball, and I'm pretty sure it was incomplete on second down and a short completion on third down. They punt, decent return, back to the 39-yard line, one play, touchdown. It's like that whole sequence. All it did was take a couple minutes off the clock, which was actually better for the Steelers in the long run. So that happens. The defense makes the stop. I'm like, hey, they did it. The offense, once again, I'm still thinking, well, that's good that they made the long throw, but can they actually sustain a drive again and finish it? They had a sustaining drive to start the second half, but didn't finish it. Then they had a one play popcorn, as Mike Tomlin would like to say, that they hit big on one play. I wanted to see if they could actually drive the ball and finish it. And they did. And they got the touchdown. That Ebron touchdown at that moment, that's when I'm like, I have the confidence in this team to win this game, because the defense has already showed that they could stop them, which they did twice already. And they do it a third time. I think in the first 3 drives of the second half, the Colts had 1 first down. That was it. And they stop them and they get the ball back. And it was at that moment, I'm like, this is a different team. This is an inspired team. They were playing so uninspired the first half. Is that a good way to describe it?
I'd go a little further.
Okay. Soft?
No.
Yeah.
The play calling changed in the second half.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle and I were sitting on the couch during the first half calling the Steelers plays. Yeah, you've seen the stories where they said all the Colts players were calling out the plays before the Steelers were running them. Well, of course they were. Kyle and I were calling them from the couch.
Jefferson Hartman, myself, and his father, we were doing the same thing. So just to confirm,
Kyle called Connor's touchdown in the first half. He was like, he saw him line up and he's like, oh, please don't run it. Please don't run it. But Connor made it in.
Yeah, he fought his way in.
But we knew what the play was going to be. Second half, that changed. We kept calling plays and they were wrong.
Yeah.
If we were
that
calling,
happened to me too.
We didn't know what was coming, then I don't think the Colts knew what was coming.
Jeff did call a home run shot on the very first play of that drive, and he was right, but that was good. Vodka drinker, haven't seen him around for a while, in and out. Is usually here all the time. Said Snell did not have a fullback in college, like I said, so that kind of makes sense.
So, but I wasn't 100% on that.
Yeah, I don't watch enough college football to know. So it's very interesting. We're gonna finish some stuff up here because the title of the show is going forward into week 17 and how this game is both meaningful and meaningless. And we'll dive into that a little bit more. So
you got to give me a couple more things from this previous game.
Oh, absolutely. We're not. I'm just letting people know kind of how we're going to be moving things along. But then they take the lead. How'd you feel about that? Did you think, oh no, they gave him too much time, or what were your thoughts there?
Nope.
Okay.
When we've been playing how we have, there's none of this. Oh, do you leave too much time or anything? No, forget it. Get the lead. We haven't had leads.
Yeah.
Plus, when we get the lead, what do we know is going to happen on the other side was you're winding down time. They're going to have to.
They're going into a prevent defense.
No, they're going to have to pass the ball. That
Yeah.
means all TJ and, Alex Highsmith and all the guys up on the line, all they're doing is pinning their ears back and going.
Yeah. I thought Stephon Tuitt woke up in the second half even more. So. Cam Hayward didn't have nearly the day that he had last year. That was a good battle between him and Quentin Nelson. Nelson probably won it more often than not, according to our resident coach, KT Smith Trisap, however you call him. I don't know if it was him or Jeffrey that was telling me about that the offensive linemen won the key battles, because Kevin Dotson was winning the battle against DeForest Buckner.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal. I mean, you're talking about a fourth round rookie making his third start up against a guy that got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. Oh, and probably the only reason he wasn't in the Pro Bowl is because he switched conferences last year, because we all know that it's a popularity contest amongst the players and coaches. So they just vote for the same people all the time. So, hence why a couple of the Steelers offensive linemen were in there that even Steelers fans felt shouldn't have been. So the Steelers are winning these matchups. Mike Hilton, great interception. He got both takeaways. He got the fumble recovery and the interception.
Yep.
That was a big fumble recovery in the first half. I mean, if they didn't have those points in the first half, that would have made it even more difficult. But
that play was awfully fun in my household. Okay. TJ's coming around the corner, and I see it happening, and I yelled, "Fumble!" before he even got the ball loose.
That's crazy.
The ball back, and I'm yelling, "Fumble!" TJ bats it out of his hand.
You were wishing for a fumble, and then all of a sudden there it was. So that's kind of how I was feeling. I mean, Jeff was going crazy. It's funny because the only other game I'd ever watched with Jeff before was the Jacksonville game, which was the last time the Steelers had won. That's why people have told me I have to watch every game with Jeff now, because it started a trend. But that game was just kind of, it was good at Jacksonville. Jeff was fired up for this one, and he was there with his dad, who he hadn't watched the game with for a long time. So it was just a lot of fun to see that. But man, did you check out the film breakdowns that we've had on the website since the game? Have you been able to catch any of those?
Which ones?
Let's see. They all blend together for me.
I know. I'm trying to remember who the two, but
Kevin
I know
did one that came out on Monday.
I saw that one,
and that was about. He was talking about how the Colts changed. They went from. Was it Kevin? I think it was Kevin. How they went from a lot of, cover one, yes, cover three to cover 2-4-6. In other words, they changed their philosophy in there, and it seemed like no matter what they did, they couldn't get it right. The throw from the throw to Deontay Johnson, the deep shot changed everything. They didn't want to give up one play drives anymore. So instead, it was death by 1,000 cuts, or in other words, the Steelers could make the short passes, but they didn't.
Yeah,
they were making great intermediate passes.
Short passes either. They kept the intermediate passes in there. They just weren't always getting the real deep shots. Yeah. And that's what it takes. It takes if you're going to spend a lot of time throwing the ball, you got to throw to all three parts of the field. You got to throw the short, the intermediate, the deep. If you make them have to respect all three, it makes them, even if they do okay against all three, they're not going to be great. When you're only throwing one, they're going to put everything into being great on that one, and then you're not doing anything.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. And like someone, I think is it still? It might have already gone. Nope, here it is. Steelers Pittsburgh said they quit running the ball too. Meaning, if you're meaning Indy, that's something I talked about in an article, and that is the Colts. They rushed the ball 20 times in the first half and 8 in the second half, and they had more yards per carry in the second half. but they went away from it. Not sure why. I still think a lot of that was when the Steelers threw them for the 1 yard loss when they were at their own 2 yard line.
Yep.
That they kind of felt, I don't know what we can do now. So that play,
a lot of those yards in the second half came on the drive that opened the half.
Yeah. So what was, where they got their field goal. When I'd said earlier, I was wrong. I said in the first 3 drives, they only got one first down. It was the first 3 drives after their field goal when the Steelers, once the Steelers didn't punch it in. Those were the 3 drives that they only got 1 first down. So what was great was the only, you would say, I don't even want to say non-successful drive. The Steelers they didn't go 3 and out at all. They were putting together first downs on every drive. I mean, my goodness, the drive that had the least amount of first downs in the second half was the one that only had 1 first down because it was 1 throw, 39 yards, touchdown. And for those of you keeping track out there stats-wise, a touchdown also counts as a first down, in case you were wondering. So that was the least amount of first downs they had on a drive in the second half. Even when they got the ball on the interception and they were running clock, they got they got at least 1, if not 2 first downs. Now, I was upset because if they get the first down on that last one, the Colts were out of timeouts. It would have ran it down to the 2-minute warning. They could have taken a knee from that point on. They needed that one last first down. They get Deontay Johnson, and he drops his elbow down inbounds. And they stopped the clock and said he went out of bounds, which was very frustrating. So I don't know about you, but that was frustrating. But the most important thing out of this was that was a completely different Steelers team that we saw in the second half. That's the team that you want to think about when they're heading into the postseason, right?
Correct. Now, there's something that I want to start to talk about.
Okay, I want to know if you're going to say what I was going to start talking about. So go ahead. We'll do this to finish up the first half.
Well, let me tell you that mine stems from an argument that I got into this morning with my good friend, Pastor Tim Pratt.
Okay. Calling him out by name on the show. Wow.
Oh, yeah, I dropped his name on the show.
Yeah.
He texted me, was like, I think the Steelers are going to end up sitting Ben, and I think that's a mistake.
Well, we'll get into that.
He's played lousy. He plays a good half, and he needs to build on that. But see, I have my own theory on that.
Okay. Now, you're going to have to save that theory because that's going to kick off our second half of the show.
Okay.
My theory is this kind of relates to it, but it's not looking forward. It's looking back.
Correct.
There were reports of that they basically took away the play calling from good old Randy Land. We can't get anything confirmed. Mike Pursuta, gotta love him. WDVE, right? Does stuff for Steelers.com. He's on the Steelers live show. Does a lot of, pregame stuff with the Steelers. He asked the question today, Coach Tomlin. And Coach Tomlin did a wonderful Coach Tomlin speak and completely got around the question to talk about another part that he brought up. He said, hey, it's reported that the Colts were calling out your plays in the first half, that they knew exactly what you were doing. And in the second half, you guys completely changed it up and kind of let Ben do his thing. Is that really what happened? And you know what Coach Tomlin did? Beautifully. He talked about silent stadiums and what it's like to play in empty, silent stadiums and about being able to hear what the other teams are calling out. Didn't even touch it with a 10-foot pole about Ben Roethlisberger, if Ben was calling the plays more. The way the players are talking about it, they were running plays. We did this one thing, this part of this play at one point, and this other part of this play at another point. We're going to put them together right now and go run it and go have a good time. Don't know how true that is or not. My question is, do you think they do whatever? Just make sure they repeat whatever they did in the second half. Do you think that's the plan going forward? Whether it was taking the play calling out of Fiechner, letting Ben do the thing, whatever it was. How do you think this is going to go?
I'm a little upset because I wish Tomlin would have just said.
Yeah. He's not going to throw Randy Land under the bus.
But here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's my own theory on some of what's going on. And I argued this point 2 weeks ago to your father.
Okay.
And my father.
I was going to say your father too.
And he and I actually got in a fight over it. And Kyle and I walked out of his house on our mother's birthday.
Man, you're putting everything out there tonight.
Oh, it was rough. Okay, because he was in that point as so were a lot of fans. I saw fans on here. I've seen fans on the website, and they were like, "Ben's done. He can't throw this or that." I said to Dad, I said, "That's not the issue." He's like, "No." I was like, "No." You go back. There was a point earlier in the season where we went through 2 games where it was the Ben's drawing up plays in the dirt. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the coaches were being asked about that. And it was made very clear, no, that is not happening. Randy Fichtner calls the plays.
Mm-hmm. They had to prove themselves.
I think Ben Roethlisberger was like, fine. Randy Fichtner calls the plays. I'm going to run what he calls.
Yep.
And we go into losing 3 straight.
Yeah.
We're in the midst of losing the 4th straight. We go in at halftime, and Ben is like, enough is enough.
Yeah.
We have to fix this.
Yeah, we're going to go out and we're going to have fun. That was all the reports are, the message from Ben and from Pouncey is we need to have fun. We need to have fun. And I think it's funny because they always say, that Fichtner, he's Ben's guy. That's why he's there. I don't think Ben feels that anymore. I felt earlier in the season, Fichtner was throwing Ben under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
When things weren't working, he was saying, well, Ben's the one making these calls and no huddle. When things were working, he was saying, this is what we're doing. He was taking all the credit when it was good and passing it off on Ben when it was bad. That's the impression I got from his interviews. And but you all know I'm not the biggest fan anyway, because I don't know. It just something just doesn't feel right there, and it hasn't for a while. But
I go back to the Randy interview a couple weeks ago where he's talking about his young receivers being like farts in a skillet.
Yeah,
and I wanted to, if I'd have been there, I said, Randy, the only farts in a skillet going on here is your play calling.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I brought it. I tweeted it at halftime, and then I brought it up in Actually, it'll be in our Steelers Vortex article that will be out tomorrow, because we talked about how the Steelers changed how they were using their receivers in the second half. They even changed where they were lining up and who they were looking for. Chase Claypool and James Washington had 0 targets in the first half.
I know.
0 targets the first half. All Ben was doing was throwing to Deontay Johnson. That's what the plays were run for.
And once in a while, Juju.
And once in a while, Juju. Juju got the same number of targets in the first half and the second half. He had 7 in each half. But Deontay Johnson went from, I think, 10 in the first half to 5 in the second half. But he was more effective with the balls that was thrown his way when they came his way. And they started utilizing more. And it's funny because they're like Ben drawing up plays in the dirt. Do you know what they're really doing? We're going to finish up this half. Tell me if you agree with this statement. It's not about drawing up plays in the dirt. It's about doing something the defense isn't expecting. And what better way to do something that the defense isn't expecting is when your offensive coordinator standing on the sideline isn't even expecting what you're about to do. How can the defense know what you're going to do when he doesn't even know? Because everything that Randy does, it seems like it's predictable. We've been saying it. We tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, but we're going to visit this topic also going forward. So anything else you want to do to wrap up week 16 but as we turn to the final week of the season?
Oh, it was just so glad to get that win and have the Steeler game end prior to the Jets defeating the Browns.
Yeah. I said that to you on the phone when I was driving. I called you real quick and had you on my headphones when I was driving from Jeff's house to my house and said, I got to say this. And then I forgot to say it because
first thing I did was turn to Kyle and I said, and however the Jets-Browns games ends, doesn't matter.
Because the Steelers won the North on their own victory. I'm so glad that game finished first. Definitely glad that finished first. All right. So We're going to transition over into part 2. So if you're listening on the audio side, go ahead and click on over to part 2. If you're here on YouTube or Facebook, all you have to do is wait for a couple seconds, and we will be right back. Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we are back with the second half of the Scho Bro Show. Scho Bro Show. There, I think I got it right. Had to rewind it there. I am Dave Schofield, co-editor of Behind the Steel Curtain, and with me, as always, my big brother Rich. Still doing good, Rich?
Still breathing in that sweet smell of victory.
I want to hear this more often from you. I really do. This,
I'm just doing it.
Steelers fans were convinced we weren't going to get to hear that again. They were convinced that the Steelers were going to lose out and lose the first round of the playoffs. Now you're seeing the team. You're seeing the spark of what you saw earlier in the season. The Steelers just have to repeat it. So now we're going to roll into our meaningful Week 17 game. Okay. This is a meaningless game and a meaningful game, depending on how you look at it. Because you can still take things away from this game. You can still do things to get ready and get better going into the postseason. But ultimately, this game doesn't matter. I'm going to lay out why it doesn't matter. Okay. The reason it doesn't matter is the Pittsburgh Steelers currently right now are the number 3 seed in the AFC. Nothing can keep them from going any lower than where they are, because it's going to be either the Titans or the Colts. They are already both 2 games behind, and the Steelers are on the tiebreaker over both of them. They can't get anywhere close to getting up there. The only thing that the Steelers could do is move up to the number 2. And the only way that occurs is if the Buffalo Bills lose to the Dolphins and the Steelers win against the Cleveland Browns. I understand Mike Tomlin's philosophy. It might be different if this game was completely under your control. If where you moved was completely under your control, but it's not. And because you need help, it makes more sense to have your guys ready than it is to make sure you win the game.
I also think that it's not as important this year to have that number 2 over the number 3 because of everything COVID and limited, if any, fans in the stands.
Well, not only that, remember, this is the first year where the number 2 seed does not get a bye. If they were playing for a bye,
correct,
they would probably be playing. You know, they still might not play because they would need help. If they controlled their own destiny, I know he would be playing for it, but they would need help. To me, not playing Ben Roethlisberger, what you're doing right now is people are like, oh, but Ben needed to get a little bit more sharp. Okay. Ben Roethlisberger ended his regular season with his best half of football he had played. Do you think he's actually going to play better than that against the Browns in Week 17? He could, but the likelihood of that, there's a lot more likelihood that you would take a step back than you would take even a step forward. Hopefully it would just be the same, holding steady. So what I'm saying is now you're going to be looking at a Ben Roethlisberger that with a week off should be hopefully more rejuvenated, because none of these guys got a week off. Wes, you're in the live chat. I know you're there. He was exactly right. At the time, I was just saying, you know what? This is how it's going to be for everyone. I still can't believe we're heading into Week 17 and every game has been played this NFL season.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive.
They've done it. But
it seems like the Steelers got the Ravens got off with a $250,000 fine and no lost draft picks.
Yeah, which is funny because
must be nice when the owner's buddies with the old commissioner.
I mean, everything that went on with the Ravens and their COVID situation, and they're going to have a harsher punishment for the Saints for not having their masks in the locker room. And I mean, I want to see what the punishment is going to be for the Steelers with their celebration. Because if it's worse than what it was for the Ravens, I have a feeling you're going to be hearing one very upset Art Rooney II. Because that's what it would come down to. So there's going to be other players other than Ben Roethlisberger that are going to sit this game out. So that's why Week 17 is meaningless. Because right now, if the Steelers cared about the victory, Ben Roethlisberger would be playing. No, it's not that they don't want to win, but if the most important thing was the victory, your best players will be playing.
Yeah, it's a you've got to weigh out risk reward.
Yeah,
risk reward.
Yeah, I was there in the stadium when all the air got sucked out of the stadium in week 17 on Sunday Night Football in 2000. Was that 14? It's been a while. When the Steelers were playing the Cincinnati Bengals for the AFC North Championship in week 17 and the right to host a game. And when one Mr. Butt Naked Get Robbed goes down with the injury, and the Steelers had nothing at the backup running back. They had already lost their backup running back earlier. So it was just him, and then he was out. That's the last thing you want to be dealing with is another key injury. The Steelers are already without Bud Dupree. They're already without Devin Bush. They don't need something else other than that. So that's one thing you have to be.
And I mean, we're playing the Browns, who, depending on how things played out, you could be the team we're turning around playing the very next week.
Exactly. And do you really want to play them straight up if you're going to play them again the next week?
Well, not only straight up, but what's stopping, Myles Garrett to think, oh, you're going to beat us this game, but I'll just rip Ben Roethlisberger's helmet off and hit him over the head with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd say you're absolutely ludicrous, but but it was absolutely ludicrous if that's ever happened before. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And you got to also remember, I really hope that the Steelers don't completely rest too many defensive guys, because you got to remember, this is the same defense. So granted, they had Devin Bush for part of the game and they had Bud Dupree, but this is the same defense that held them to 7 points.
But
right?
Yes. Now, I was reading a story on the website today. I don't remember what story it was. May have been because you did the one about talking about who may or may not be in the game, right? No.
That was Jeff.
That's right. That's who it was. And I was reading that, and someone came on and was like, I think we need to sit this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this. And I was like,
you can't sit them all.
You realize that we do have to field a team, right?
Yeah. Yes. And you know what? Jeff went through in that article and laid it out exactly the way it needs to be. There are certain guys that you're not going to be able to rest completely. Some of these guys might not play, but they're going to have to dress. Honestly, in my opinion, people are like, well, Marquise Pouncey's on. I think Marquise Pouncey's going to have to dress because they only have 2 centers and they can't dress. They can't go into a game with just one.
Correct.
So I think Marquise Pouncey is going to not start and not play, but he is there in case Hassenauer gets hurt.
Yep.
Don't you think?
I agree. I would say there's a good chance you'd see the same thing from TJ Watt.
Yes. Well,
TJ Watt may dress but not play.
They could get by without dressing one outside linebacker if Ola Adeniyi comes back healthy.
If
he was
Ola
out,
comes back healthy.
Because they've been keeping some out. I should ask you this: what do you think of, especially on special teams? What do you think of Cassius Marsh?
You know what? The dude plays hard.
Yeah. Hey, that's my line. You got to play hard, and he does. He plays hard.
Yes.
So,
it was nice to see him in there and just going all out.
Yeah. So there might be players that are active for the game, but the Steelers don't plan on using. And like Coach Tomlin said, you might even see guys playing some, but just not playing nearly as much. And it would be nice if that were to dictate things. Now, I think the reason that this game is meaningful is that since Ben Roethlisberger was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2004, he has intentionally been sat out in week 17 4 times. Okay. Steelers are 3-1 in those games. The only loss came to the Ravens back. It was a while ago. They won Ben's rookie year. The 2 most recent ones were both against Cleveland. They were both at home, but they were against a 1-14 team and an 0-15 team. That Landry Jones went out there and won in week 17. This is a slightly better Cleveland Browns team than those, in my opinion. So slightly better. Of course, I'm just messing around. I mean, this is a solid. it's a solid Brown team. But what what do you think would be, what are the Steelers looking for out of this game?
This is what I wish the Steelers would be looking for out of this game. Offensively is not about who plays. To me. I don't care who plays on offense. I want to see what plays do we run.
Yeah.
The person that doesn't get the week off here that needs to prove to me is not the quarterback Ben Roethlisberger I was talking about arguing with Pastor Pratt earlier about. No, for me, the guy that does not deserve to get the week off is your offensive play callers. I want to see more of what we saw second half against the Colts.
Yeah. If we see the same cruddy offense that we had seen the first half against the Colts, and we had seen
the previous
four games prior to that.
Yeah, really.
What that goes to show that the problems last year were not Mason Rudolph. I was saying before that I thought the biggest problems last year is that Randy Fiedner had him thinking so hard he couldn't play football. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think this is a chance for the Steelers to show that they can do a little bit more. I want to see, well, if we just, so you got to remind yourself of this, Steelers fans. If you're seeing the exact same things offensively that you saw against the Bengals and against the football team, if that's the things that you're seeing, that is not Mason Rudolph's fault. That is Randy Land. And if that's the case, then we know Randy Land's got to go. Okay.
Yep.
Meaning they're not going to fire him or anything, but you don't let him run the show of your offense in the playoffs. So to me, I almost feel like I don't know that it is this way, but it should be. He should be auditioning for the right to run the offense in the postseason in this game. Honestly, yes. I mean, It's that brutal. It's that brutal. If it goes back to the same ridiculous stuff. Now, when it comes to one Mason Rudolph, and as someone alluded to at some point where you can, it's past Christmas, but you could always say, are we going to have Rudolph shiny new year or something like that? You could throw it out there. When it comes to him, I want to see if we see some of the improvement that I think that we could see from him based on what he should have had last season. Because I've said it before, his first year in the league, he was the third string quarterback. He got next to no reps in practice. He was just back learning what it was like to be in the NFL. Then last year, he was the backup. He was supposed to be the guy that gets all the first team reps on Wednesday when Ben's sitting out of practice and you really learn and improve. Come in some mop-up duty here and there, perhaps. And that's how you learn and you get better in your next year in the NFL with him as a third-round pick. But he got thrust into the starting role 6 quarters into the season.
Yep.
He did not get that middle ground. He went from a guy in street clothes holding a clipboard to you're the guy in a game and a half. In a game and a half. Not counting preseason and everything, but in an actual game and a half of NFL football. And
he didn't have a quarterback's coach.
Yeah, and without a quarterback's coach. So now you have a quarterback's coach, and he gets to get the reps every day that Ben Roethlisberger doesn't practice. So he should have had a chance to improve. That's what I would like to see. Do you know what I mean? I would like to see some improvement from Mason Rudolph. But if there's no improvement in the play calling, it's not really going to be much.
Yeah, I don't want to see run for one, throw a 3-yard pass, punt.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we keep doing that all game, then we know where the problem is.
Yes. So I know some people were saying that they would like to see Big Al rest. I'd like to see him get a little bit of time. I really would. I'd like to see him and Dotson get a little bit more time playing next to each other.
Yeah.
Because I think Dotson played great.
Dotson played wonderful the other day.
And so it's just something to get used to. Oh man, there was one play that David DeCastro got blown up so bad and knocked down backwards on the goal line that it was just, let's not talk about that one. But there's
bring it up. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, and some people are like, oh, were we going to get to see Josh Dobbs? Josh Dobbs has not been active all season. He has not been in uniform. That has not been his job. His job is to be a guy that played for the Steelers in the past and to come in and to be a guy that could step in if there's any COVID-related issues and stuff going on. Would I think it would be fun to see if they had any fun little packages to throw in just against Cleveland to bring Dobbs in since he's going to be active? Sure, it would be fun. I'm not expecting it, but right. I would be more than welcome if they did it. So just want to kind of see some different working together. I want to see Vince Williams get some rest. I mean, that poor guy, he played 100% of the defensive snaps, but you could tell he wasn't all the way back. He was not completely recovered because he did have symptoms and talked about how difficult it was to breathe with having COVID. So he stepped in and he played hard, but his own, there were some physical limitations he had in that game last week. So
I hope he gets a Veterans Day off tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be nice to see.
Because he earned it.
Yes, he definitely did. But I mean, he was playing with heart. And Coach Tomlin told everyone in the press conference today that what Vince was doing more than anything was calling the plays, setting everything up. They even said, we know we have some deficiencies with him out there in the pass coverage, but we needed him to run everything. I think Avery Williamson is another guy that just plays hard. He plays hard and knows everything that he can.
Yep.
Alex Highsmith, what do you think of his game on Sunday?
I thought his game was great, man. He almost got home for sacks 4 times, and he influenced passes. His pass rush is great. Now, one thing that Dupree has on Highsmith, and that is his ability to stop the run. Highsmith, when they run directly at him, and especially they get him caught up in a group. Bud Dupree does a very solid job on those, on reading correctly, as we like to call them, the RPO deal. Mm-hmm. Highsmith is still learning that. You can tell. Mm-hmm. He's a step behind.
Yeah.
On those types of things. And
when he's backside pursuit in the run game, he's on it. But he's a rookie and he's getting his most playing time. And if you can get 2 guys in there blocking him, he can get pushed. It's not a cut. It's something for him to work on in the offseason. I think he's playing admirably. But I would say
admirably, I think he's playing great considering we were expecting him to get 10 to 11 defensive snaps a game.
Yeah.
And
almost all of them.
He was up where in the 50s, high 50s or somewhere in this game, 56 maybe. Yeah. So what he's gotten thrust into, he has handled very well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I give him, sometimes it's almost so much so that I forget that he's a rookie,
Right.
But that's one of those things. And it's really nice that he didn't play very much, didn't have to play more than those snaps early on because he still seems like he's rolling through. So I think very bright future for him. And like I said, if he had one part of his game to work on, it's when they run directly at him. But that's just nitpicking. I think he's done great. Just thought I'd ask you about that. I'd like to see him against the Browns. He's not a guy you're looking to rest. He's not a guy.
No, probably not.
You're not looking to rest your wide receivers because you just don't have anymore.
Right.
Maybe get a little bit more Ray out there and not have quite as many snaps for everybody else. But I think
you'll see the receivers all fairly even snap count would be my guess. They're all going to be bunched together instead of a couple way up and a couple in the bottom and some in the middle. I think you're going to see a pretty even spread of snap count for the wide receivers.
Okay, so one last question before we move on to our predictions. What do you want to see out of the Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday at 1:00 against the Browns, knowing that they're going to be resting some guys and some other things like that? What do you want to see the most?
I'd like to see that we come out of the gate with the passing game that is going to all 3 levels.
Okay.
On top of that, I then also want to see what that could potentially do for the running game.
All right. I hope our Aussies are ready.
If we can get back to that running game we had the first 5 games of the season.
Yeah. I hope our Aussies are ready because they're coming back in because I want to know from both Maddie and Mark. Now, if you guys weren't here at the beginning of the show, we had our 2 Aussies on here announcing their YouTube. They're moving their podcast to YouTube and Facebook starting this Saturday at 5 p.m. But I want to hear from each one of you. I'm going to start with Matt first. What is the one thing you want to see out of the Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday, knowing that Ben Roethlisberger isn't playing and everything else?
Yeah, so Rich took like one of my things, which was really seeing that offensive line work. So I'd really like to see them use the tight ends better in the passing game because I think for Mason this week, Vance and Ebron have to step up. And equally, if we're talking about rest, I don't want to see Ebron take 80% of the sort of numbers of snaps that he's had. So I really want to see how they're using the tight ends in the pass game.
Yeah, and those are the only 2 they have. So they're still probably going to be playing. They just might get Vance out there a little bit more. Mark, what about you? Is there anything – I know they've taken all the good answers, but is there anything different you want to see from the Steelers?
You've just got to – I want to see the same energy that I saw in the second half. The other day, I watched the Jets game more than I watched the Steelers, and I was hoping the Jets to win. They did, but when there was one big play that they had a 3rd down, got off the field, and the sideline had a bit of energy. You're versing the Browns. You got to put it to them. We don't want them in the playoffs. It'd be so funny to see Baker lose that and then the Colts win, and I'm pretty sure they're out. So it doesn't matter who plays. Bring your energy let's get them.
Yeah. Now I will clarify. There is a lot of scenarios that puts people in and out of the playoffs. Right now, the Browns would be. They're on the bottom of the list. They're the next to the bottom of the list, next to the Colts. The Colts are the odd man out. But it goes Titans, Dolphins, Ravens, Browns, Colts. Those 5 all with the same record in that order. And that's the order of the tiebreakers even. So obviously Tennessee or Indianapolis has to be in that number 4 seed. So it's one or the other. It's Tennessee if they win. It's Tennessee's if they lose and the Colts lose. So the only way that Tennessee doesn't get it is if they lose and the Colts win. But if the Colts win and the Browns lose, the Browns drop below the Colts. But if somebody else that's above that was already, above the Browns, if they lose, they're still going to stay above the Browns. So it really is about the Colts because the Colts move ahead of them and that's the only one. Now you can't keep both the Browns and the Ravens out of the playoffs because there's only one team that's not going to make it. So, but that's, I just wanted to clarify that is correct. That as long as the Colts would win and the Browns lose, they're at the bottom, even if other teams lose as well. Teams like Miami, they could lose too, but if somebody else below them also loses, then they're going to make it in. So I want to bring you guys back in for this because Rich is going to do his thing. I'm going to ask you guys to do the same. I mean, I don't know if you guys are comfortable doing it tonight or if you need to save it for Saturday. You guys know that we always finish this up where Rich gives his prediction for the game, and then we go through it for the people in the live chat. That's going to be up to you guys if you're going to save yours for Saturday, if you want to do it tonight. But I wanted to at least give you the opportunity. So, Rich, what do you think is going to happen on Sunday? What do you predict for your score and the outcome? Now, I will tell you, the Browns right now are favored by 10 points.
By 10 points?
By 10 points. Because of the Steelers not playing their people. But if you wanted to compare it, the Chiefs are at home against the Chargers, and they're underdog. The Chiefs are underdogs by 3.5 because they're not. Vegas isn't expecting them to play all their people either.
Oh, you know what? I'm feeling like Brian Anthony Davis tonight. Mm-hmm. So, okay. You're going to get my bold and bizarre prediction.
Your bold and bizarre. All right, here we go.
All right. Mason Rudolph comes in, plays much better than expected. The game stays close. tie game late. Steelers with the football. Myles Garrett gets a face mask penalty called, throws his helmet, gets an unsportsmanlike call on top of that, puts the Steelers into field goal range. Boswell kicks the field goal. We win.
So, in other words, he's Vontez perfect and Pat Van Jones rolled
Myles
into one.
Vontez perfect moment. And the Steelers win 24-21.
24-21. There we go. Maddie and Mark, are you guys going to save yours for Saturday, or do you want to, or do you want to go tonight?
I can say mine now.
All right, Mark.
But I might forget it and it might change by the next time we're on here. I've got the Steelers winning this one. I think they've turned the corner. That second half was unbelievable. I think Mason has something to prove. I think we still have to get our running game corrected. We need to do something with that. We need more creative plays. And I think there's a lot of pressure on the Browns and Baker Mayfield to do something. So this is, I don't know how we're -10 or whatever. It needs to be closer than that. I don't think they're going to bump us. If they win, the Browns will win by 3 or 4 or 6. But I've got the Steelers at 24-10. I think our defense, even the backups can still play good defense. So I think it's all on Baker. If Baker makes mistakes, we've won this game.
There you go. Matty P, we going to get yours today too? Or
yeah, I'll feed off that. But first, I just wanted to bring up Donald's comment. Donald, we are, if you've missed the start of the show, starting 5 p.m. each Saturday. We'll be coming to you live as Tony moves on to the Friday night. So, yeah, definitely keen to see the support there. But going back to predictions, I agree with what Mark was saying. If the Steelers are going to win this game with sitting some starters out, it's going to come down to turnovers. That was probably one of the things that I've seen least talked about from last week. The defense got 2 turnovers. The offense didn't commit a turnover. If we're going to win this week, it's on the defense showing up. It can't be relying on Mason or the Steelers' poor run game. I do think, though, it's going to be a hard one to beat the Browns this week, but I do think the defense shows up. Steelers win by 2.
All right. Steelers by 2. I'm going to bring it up for scores. I just popped that into the live chat. Thank you I don't know which one of you brought this up.
I did that.
All right. So we did get a super chat here, $4.99 from Occam's Ox. Says, I want to see Misery make a comeback in Cleveland. Mason Rudolph and backups knocked the Browns out of the playoffs. The Factory of Sadness returned. That's the perfect story. It really is. And that's what we want to see. The question is, will we see it? My biggest factor, I'm going to tell you, this is going to come down to what I haven't decided yet, is Randy Land. To me, it really comes down to Randy Land. Is it going to be Coach Fiegner calling the same kind of offense they've been calling the last few weeks? And that's what scares me. So here we go. Now that I'm throwing there that I want scores, let's bring them up. We got Andrew Wilbar. He says Browns 24-9. He says get a defensive TD and a safety, and then Mason gets benched. Kyle says 17-13 Browns if Randy wants to explore different 3 options. 21-14 Steelers if Ben shows Randy how to call plays. One thing I said, I think Ben Roethlisberger, he needs to shut everything down this week physically and bump everything up mentally this week. He needs to be dissecting stuff in practice, dissecting stuff in the game, looking at the things that they can do moving forward, I think is a good thing for him. Steeler Chick 46, Steelers 21, Browns 17. As my super chat jumps around on me, I can't even begin this. Anyone want to help me with this name?
I
got nothing.
Shifts 88.
Okay, we'll say that. 23-20 Browns. Okay, Steeler Nation 412 says 26-21 Cleveland. Michael O'Malley 28-10 Steelers. Okay. Henry Manuel says Sean Davis at safety. I didn't mean to click on that one, but Rich says Big Kyle. All right. This is a Chiefs fan that's been in here a little bit. Hefe is what I'm going to say. Browns 33, Steelers 13. I always screw this name up. Kelvin Colbert Sr. 24-20 Steelers. Christopher 11, 20-17 Steelers. Cree says 34-6 Browns. I mean, you got to remember the Browns are coming off losing to the Jets, and they only scored 7 points against the Steelers last time. You don't know which Browns team is going to show up. That's the other thing. You don't know which Browns team you're going to get. My goodness. Double HH wanted to know if the wide receivers are still out. They have not come off the COVID list. I think a couple other people went on the COVID list today for the Browns. Their one rookie tight end is one of them. I'm not sure who the other one was.
We'll have to stay tuned throughout the week to see what's going on, who's in and out for them.
Because they were close contacts, it all depends on how they test and everything. Okay. Dusk Thunder 9 says 17-24 Browns. He says that the backups aren't going to get it done. Chubb's going to run for 180. We have Robert says 17-10 Steelers. Occam's Ox gives us another $3.99 because he wants me to pay Kyle. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Man, a host of friends. I have a host of friends. I skipped again. Sorry, I got to use my touch screen because I can't read these. Otherwise,
that's all right.
Tyler W. 24-20. He says Steelers. It's off 3 turnovers. Matt, you brought up was it Matt or Mark? I can't. Matt, I'm pretty sure you said it.
Yeah,
it's about the takeaways. It's about the takeaways. Forcing those turnovers. That's a really good point. Okay. Richard McKinney says realistic score: Cleveland 24, Pittsburgh 35.
Wow.
Yeah. That'd be crazy if the offense put up more points without Ben Roethlisberger. That would just
actually it wouldn't be that crazy, depending on what we see offensively for the scheme.
Yeah, it's all. I think it comes down to scheme. Okay. Aaron says Steelers 21-17. Felicia was asking about their COVID situation. It's not over. They had 2 guys go on the list today. Let's see. I'm looking at the actual score. Donald says Steelers win 36-13. Jalen Samuels gets a TD. That'd be crazy. Man, wouldn't it be nice to get a big defensive play against Baker Mayfield early like they did the last game? That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Eric says 24-17 Steelers. We were told just don't even try to pronounce that name. That we screwed up. Steelers fan 74. Good to see him in here. 17-14 Steelers. So, and man, all these people saying I need to pay Kyle. Okay. Cam Troy 28-17 Steelers. Okay. Wow. Hey, Tom. He says 21-0 Steelers. I'd love to see like a 10-9 score. That'd be crazy. But I have to give my prediction Thursday. So there we go. Steelers, Pittsburgh, Chargers 30-7 over the Chiefs because we had a Chiefs fan in here.
Over the chefs.
Over the chefs. Yeah, over the chefs. That
Great
old school
googly
Snickers commercial, right? Remember that Snickers commercial?
Yeah.
Not going anywhere for a while.
Moogly.
Great googly moogly.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys might be too young for that one. Henry says 27-24 Steelers. Do you see any more in there? I'm skipping around a lot, so I don't want to miss any numbers.
You get that one?
Where Russ says 28 Steelers 28, Browns 17. That's another good one. Okay. Yes, Andrew said Harrison Bryant. That was the name of the tight end that went on the list. So how about Ryan? 27-21 Browns. I could see this game really going either way. Oh, Lake Effect snows. 1. There you go. Us 20, them 17. Lake Effect snows. Could that be a Cleveland fan? I'm not sure. Ezra gets his in there. 16-14 Steelers. That's an interesting one there.
Yeah.
Did we get this one? Yeah, we got that one. Sorry.
We got that one.
Already did. Who we missing? Did we get this one?
Did we get that one?
John's 13-7.
Yeah. And then do we get this one? GS 24-17 Steelers.
And then, of course, we got to bring up Occam's Ox because I don't know that he put it in his super chat. 17-13 Steelers. So
there you go.
In case you're wondering why you're seeing 4 blokes here right now, I didn't get a chance to sling the slang with you guys. I really would have liked to say, hey, we could teach you some good country words if you really wanted them. Okay.
Don't do.
Yeah, if you don't do. But what did you guys say?
What was that?
He said, jump to. Okay. I'm about ready to go down there to Giant Eagle. Jump to. Go with me.
Matt, do you know what he's saying?
Nah, different language, mate. It's like Chris said, different English.
What you're saying. Yeah, we speak English. I don't know about you two blokes.
Yeah. I was going to say another one from our area was like if be careful, don't mess this up. It'll get all whopper jawed. Okay, which has a synonym also known as cattywampus. Okay,
Yes.
those are two that you could use, which is just when something's kind of messed up and funky. It's either whopper jawed or all cattywampus. So that's one. But before we go, just because we're with the Aussies, we have to say this. You guys, you have us pretty high in the power rankings, right? With the accents.
Oh, and with the Aussies before the way you said it, I mean, you're keeping that pedestal. You're top out number one, Dave Scheffler.
I'm working on it. Now, you said that Jeff was disqualified because of his whole Jennifer Lopez. Okay. That's just reference to something from years ago. I will tell you one thing. If you guys want to learn your Yinzer, there's a name that you can say to practice your Yinzer to make it better. Okay. And it's very simple. If Rich knows what it is, it's Donnie Iris. You have to be able to say Donnie Iris. Okay.
Donnie Iris?
Yeah, it's to say it in proper English, it's Donnie Iris. Okay.
Oh, Donnie Iris.
You can say Donnie Iris, then you know exactly that. That's all you need to know. You know, you go to Pittsburgh, you just say Donnie Iris, people are going to think you fit right in.
Isn't it like downtown and that and Yins and that?
Yeah.
Isn't that it?
No, Donnie Iris is a Pittsburgh musical legend. That's why. You know, I'm going down to see Donnie Iris. You know, he's playing over there. So with that, we've kind of gone over a little bit messing around with you guys. But the reason we have our Aussies on here is you've got to make sure you're ready for their first live show Saturday, approximately 5 p.m. Eastern. They will be taking the Saturday's time slot. Steelers Brunch with Tony is going to move to another time with Tony that'll be on Friday evenings. Other than that, you should have a regular week from us here at Behind the Steel Curtain when it comes to the podcasts. With boy, it was nice to actually have a hangover on Monday and a Scho Bro on Tuesday. You'll have Know Your Enemy tomorrow night with Michael and Jeffrey, the preview with Brian and Jeff and myself on Thursday. It's probably going to be much earlier in the day, just like last week, because we're dealing with New Year's Eve. And then we should have a debut from Tony on Friday and our wonderful Touchdown Under on Saturday. And then we'll have our Steelers post-game show on Sunday. Make sure you're checking out BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. It is your one-stop shop for all things Pittsburgh Steelers. Rich, anything else you want to say about anything before we sign off here?
No, I'm good.
Matt, anything you want to say to Steelers Nation?
Can't wait.
He didn't say it. I have to end the whole show with it. It's coming to you guys.
Mark, anything else you want to say here?
Just Happy New Year's. Let's have a good New Year and let's beat the Browns and get them out of the competition.
Yeah. And how excited are you guys for Saturday or your Sunday morning?
I'm pretty pumped up. It's be out 9 a.m. So I'll be up there, a little bit tired, but I get a coffee and we'll be sweet.
All right. We're looking forward to it. So, hey, Steelers are back on track. We don't have to worry about any other kind of bad streaks going on. We're starting a new good streak. Make sure you are checking us out, both on the audio, both on the live chats, and both on the web and also on the website. And just let's enjoy this game Sunday. It's one of those games that you can go out there, you know, good things can happen. And if bad things happen, it's because you're choosing to rest your guys. So it should be hopefully a nice, fun game for Steelers fans. Sunday, 1:00, wrapping up the regular season. What do you think about that, Rich?
Back-to-back games on Sunday, 1:00. Oh, can't wait.
We'll see you next time.